There it is.
Good evening, being a little after 7 o'clock on April 3rd, 2024. Let's open the Kingston Zoning Board of Appeals. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Marcia, are you there? Marcia, you there? I don't want to move the board forward
She's
without.
probably muted.
Marcia, mute. Do you know if she's calling in or is she? All right, we'll continue. We'll bring her in if she shows up. That being said, first on the agenda is Cushman Farms LLC. Doug, do you want to read it?
Excuse me, a public hearing will be held at Town Hall, 26 Evergreen Street, room 200 on Zoom on Wednesday, November 1st, 2023, 7:05 PM to hear a petition of Cushman Farms LLC, 33 Cushman Drive, Kingston, Mass. 02364, request a comprehensive permit under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 40B, to allow construction of 3 apartment buildings proposed to build 162 units of rental housing. The project on approximately 11 acres of land located off Marion Drive and Cushman Drive. The site in Kingston, the municipality, with an associated community building, access road, parking, stream crossing, utilities, and stormwater features on assorted parcels along Thomas Street, including off Pleasant Street and Pleasant Street, map 66, lots 29, 32, 33, 35, 37, 38, 40, 41, 42, 47, and map 75, lots 5 and 7. Mass Housing ID number 1159, plot plan by Coneco Engineers and Scientists, Bridgewater, Mass., drawn by surveyor Timothy S. Boda, PLS dated September 28, 2023, comprehensive permit plans by Coneco Engineers and Scientists, plans drawn by engineer Damian J. Dimitruk, PE, dated October 2nd, 2023, continued to January 17th, 2024, continued to March 6th, 2024, continued to April 3rd, 2024.
Very good. And so what I've heard, we don't need to really open it because they want to continue. And do they have an idea or should we just kick them pretty far down the can?
Well, let me tell you what we
Chairman?
have. May 1st, we have 60 Country Club Way and 160 Summer Street.
Okay.
May 15th, we have Walking Road at 7.
Do you want to push them out to June? When's the first meeting in June?
The first meeting is June 5th.
June 5th. When's the second meeting?
June 19th, which is a holiday, so it's Juneteenth.
Did they give an idea of what they needed to do or they just said nothing?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I told them they had to be on Zoom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. My name is Walter Marioni. I'm an attorney with the law firm of Marioni, Shaughnessy, and Udy in Quincy.
Yep.
And I represent Cushman Farms and Rick Lincoln. With your permission, I'd like to give you a little update and perhaps ask for or discuss some direction moving forward.
Well, I don't need an update. It's more of a, where do you guys stand? I mean, it's a 40B, so I don't really need an update unless you guys have everything together.
Well, the applicant would like to move forward with the public hearing process and the consideration of the application. The applicant met last week with the Water Commission, presented the project, and had a discussion about where the Water Commission stands in terms of the water moratorium. Offered a mitigation package to be worked out in the future moving forward, and at this point, the applicant would like to move forward with the board in a peer review and consideration of the application, with the idea that if the applicant is successful with the project and is able to obtain a comprehensive permit, that it would contain a condition with respect to a water connection at the time that the water moratorium is lifted through the Water Commission.
I never received any more information.
So we're ready to go, I guess is the sum and substance of all of what I just said.
So, all right, let's do this. if you guys feel like you're ready to go, which is kind of weird since you're not ready to go, since you actually don't have one of the actual pieces of the pie, which is water. You want to do it as a condition, which I think is kind of putting the cart before the horse. To me, water is one of the most fundamental elements of the whole project, sewer being the second one. That being said, you can contact, I don't know if it's you who can make this happen, but we're gonna need money in a kitty to be set aside, and then you're gonna have to pick from our peer review, a company you get to pick the name of the company you wanna work with to have peer review done on your project. And
Yeah,
that
that's
will-
no problem. We can coordinate with your board representative. We can have the Conoco representative be in touch. Fund based upon, will you do a proposal, or do you ask for a sort of a set amount and we fund it and then move forward?
Yeah, so usually it's either, yours is rather large, so, 5,000 as basically a starting payment.
Fair enough.
And then put it in a kitty, that's gonna be for the firm that's gonna basically go through your whole 40B application for the town.
Yep.
Um, and, if you guys feel like you have your stuff together, other than a pretty big condition of not having water, you can at least be peer reviewed. And if you guys feel like you're ready to come in front of us with a peer review, which is part of the process, then we could put you at a date that you guys are ready to roll, because we have to have peer review look at everything you guys have. That is somewhat concrete.
That's wonderful.
You know what I mean? It can't be very vague. It has to be somewhat where you guys are going, because if not, you're just gonna keep paying for peer review to keep looking at your new, everything you do each time you change it.
No, I understand completely, and I had this conversation with our client this morning, and they're ready to move forward.
So you guys want a closer date than June 5th?
Well, what were we, April? 60 days, I think, probably makes sense, having done this a little bit in the past on your side. Because, as you sort of just alluded to, it takes time to get the peer review, get them on board, get all the
Yep.
documents to them, get a full review done, maybe even come back for one round to the applicant, and then back to the peer review, and then to the board. So I like the idea of 60 days, as long as you're comfortable with it, I am.
Yeah, I mean, whatever gets you guys to move into position of what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that works.
So June 5th, you want to continue to?
Please.
All right, you'll be first on the docket, 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock.
All
And
right.
we just signed a time waiver on March 28th.
We can push us to when? Can you check
We can-
for your side
We
for
can
the?
give you a letter extending the time frame as well, if you need that.
Yes, yeah, I want to make sure. So basically, you guys are at a point, whenever we continue it, whatever amount of time, we need at least a letter with that much more time on it, so that we have a buffer.
We will do that.
Yeah, so if we're pushing you 60 days, please add a letter with 60 or 90 or whatever days, just to keep that insulation of time.
Yeah, we'll go past that date for you. We'll go
All
at
right.
least 30 days past that date. Fair enough.
So can I get a second to continue to June 5th at 7 PM?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Marcia, you're in?
Marcia, hi. I'm
Thank-
back here.
Thank you, Marcia. All right, there we go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you.
Have a good night.
Next on the agenda is 3 Grandview Avenue.
Public hearing will be held at Town Hall, 26 Evergreen Street, room 200, Wednesday, September 20th, 2023. Applicant Sue Larson, 3 Grandview Ave, map 38, lot 93, must seek a special permit, zoning board of appeals, per section 4.2A, nonconforming structure, use, or lot subsection 4A, in order to remove the roof on a nonconforming structure on a nonconforming lot and build a second floor for living space. Renovation plans to existing residence prepared by Doug Friesen, Doug Spurrow Designs, on 2/13/23. Plan of land prepared by Stephen Moore and Moran Surveying, Incorporated, on 12/30/2022. Continued to October 18th, 2023, continued to November 15th, 2023, continued to January 17th, 2024, continued to April 3rd, 2024.
Thank you. Is Miss Larson here or someone representing her?
I'm here,
Hello.
Miss Larson.
How you
Hi.
doing?
Good, how are you?
All right, take it away. Tell me what you're trying to do or what you want to do.
Okay, well, I did meet with the board but it was kind of, your decision was contingent upon getting a permit or getting the okay from conservation, which we have done. We've met with conservation, they came, saw the property, we had a hearing with conservation, and they approved it and gave us an order of conditions. So I want to go ahead with I'm hoping that you guys will now approve it and let me go ahead with the project.
Very good. Let me ask this. Last time she was here, I was not here. So the question is, did you guys hear any relevant information?
Just the conservation information was given to me by.
No, I mean, when you guys opened it, did you guys just continue it right away because she had to go to Conscom, or
Pretty much.
Yes.
or did you guys
Yeah.
hear a whole?
We saw the
We
plans.
listened a
and-
little bit, but then we had to continue.
Yeah,
so
with
let's do
conservation.
conservation.
We met with the building inspector, and he had us moderate the plans somewhat to be in accordance with FEMA, and so we did that.
Here, just to help me in the public, what are you doing? Why are you here, in other words? Give me you're obviously doing something to your house, but are you just adding a second floor?
Yeah, it has an existing attic already and existing stairs that go to the attic. So, but by code, that center, peak isn't tall enough to add dormers and a room. So we do have to raise the roof, or in other words, take the roof off and make it a little taller and put a bedroom and bathroom.
All right, this is something like this.
And they've eliminated the bedroom downstairs to an office.
Yes,
That was part
because
of the
I
deal.
need an office too.
All right, so this is gonna be a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom total?
Two.
2-bedroom office,
2-bedroom with an office downstairs?
yes. But I needed an extra bathroom, so.
Do
'cause
you
it's
have,
pretty tiny.
do you have enough parking for 2 cars off-street?
Off-street, yes.
Yes. Are those, trying to find the map. You're the nice, you're the nice.
Oh, they're in front of the house, so they're good.
There's enough space? It looks tight, but.
Yeah,
Plenty, yeah. I have a picture of the Santa Claus coming in the fire engine down the street.
Yeah, I'm trying to find, you have a lot of
Huge
stuff there.
trucks come down the street.
This is the one, like on that plan, or you want site, or you want the building plans? There's a tighter one, I'm trying to find it, zooms in better.
There's no parking.
I was gonna say,
no, it's off-street parking.
There's no parking at all. It's
Yeah.
on the road.
let's see, where,
It's not accessible. There's no parking spaces there. That was represented in our last discussions, that there's no off-street parking at all,
Huh.
currently.
all right.
And so the house is being expanded.
Right, that's why I'm asking where the parking is. So this is what I'm asking, and I don't know if you have your details in front of you. If you have your site plan in front of you, by any chance, Ms. Larson?
No. Yeah,
Okay.
I thought you did.
I have it in front of me, so
Okay.
I get,
I
so-
actually just sold this condo I'm in right now, and I'm moving back to Kingston. So everything's packed. So I don't have my site plan in front of me.
what I do need, looking at your site plan, even though I'm guessing the way your land, when you see it, it was laid out, you probably are assuming that you own some land that's actually in the road layout. So there needs to somehow be put on your site plan, a spot where you can park 2 vehicles on your property. Jason, do you want to speak to this? I don't want to
Yeah,
kick this
I-
much farther down the road, but
Yeah, Jason
seems to be a
Silva,
big
Building
problem.
Commissioner. So it's one of the initial discussions that we had with the applicant, their architect, was, there was 2 major components of conflicts. One was that removing a significant portion of the structure would require entire conformance with FEMA floodplain, which would require the elevation of the structure and significantly changing the scope of their work. So they did modify the scope of their work. They did revise some of it, to the best of my understanding. They did go back to conservation with some of those other revisions, at least again, to the best of my understanding. However, at the time, there was no off-street parking. And at the site, the lot drops drastically from the edge of the pavement of the road. And so the off-street parking, at least represented to me, was that we've always parked in the street layout. There's plenty of room in the street layout, and there'll be no problem adding more space because we'll just park another car in the street layout. Now, obviously, our Streets and Parks Director says that you can't park in the street layout, so therein lies a contradiction. The addition that she added, I think, if I remember correctly, was ramped back from having a bedroom in it, which clearly has to have a parking space under the bylaw. And I think the addition is just argued as bolstering the existing space, just making it bigger by not adding any additional parking requirement, was what I was told was the revision. So that's like, my assumption is what relief you're looking for now, they're looking at now, is to add more square footage to the structure, but try not to trigger a parking requirement, because again, there's no off-street parking already.
All right. I'll ask the board how to move forward with this, because to me, there has to be something on the plans showing at least 2 parking spots. And I don't know if it's realized by looking at,
Yeah, this plan is vague.
no, but even looking at this site plan, it shows like landscaping well into Grandview. You know what I mean? So I don't know if whoever's helping her engineer is realizing that her front yard is basically in the street.
To me, it's an existing condition. It's been the existing condition like that for forever in that house.
Well, I guess the problem isn't that it's an existing condition. I mean, it's the way it is the way we're getting away with it, but.
Right, it's not changing it, and that they're not changing the capacity of the house, so I don't see it as a
Well,
problem.
they're adding a second floor, right?
Yeah, but the same amount of bedrooms.
There's not a way for them to at all to even put in a raised parking spot?
I don't know the site that well, but I would argue that even if you could create parking, it would have to be maybe a 3-walled retaining wall system.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Right within few feet
from-
of the marsh, which would clearly be a significant task just to get a permit for it, if you could even do it. Because
Did COMSCOM not raise any of these issues about where these cars were gonna park?
I don't think that's a zoning thing.
Yeah, the front of the house is farther enough away from the marsh, so. It's the back of the house that they had the problem with.
Oh, okay.
So the front of the house is, like I say, it's been there forever, so I just don't see it as a problem personally.
Kevin, I guess I'll move along, because I don't know how I could allow it to happen when we hold it for everybody else.
You need a parking spot. You can't park on the road.
There's a lot of parking spots. I mean, I have friends come over for dinner, there's room for them to park, a big truck can still go by when they park.
Yeah,
It's,
so I guess
it's
the issue
not-
is here, we can't allow expansion of the area around there and make it okay for one house to park in the street and not every house along the street to park in the street.
but this is,
You get what I'm saying?
I've been going through all this with the understanding that I would probably be able to do this as long as we went through the hoops with conservation and all that. And now I'm selling my condo here to invest that money into it, and to now hear that I'm not gonna be able to do it.
Oh, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that at
upset me
all.
a little.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a piece of the pie that was completely missed. Everybody was busy looking at the house and how we want to live in it and make all this room, and no one took into the account the fact that you can't just keep building and building and not have a spot to house everybody that lives in that property. I'm not trying to sound.
We did discuss it at the last hearing. We did have a discussion about it.
And what came of
Someone
it?
said they'd seen the property and knew that there was plenty of room in the street above it.
Again, I'm not trying to sound mean at all, but you cannot use the street as a factor of parking. What's to stop you from selling this house down the road and then expanding it again because you can, and then finding out there's still no parking because there's park more cars in the street?
Well,
What do you guys do when it snows? When there's a foot of snow, where do you park your car? Do you park it down in a parking lot somewhere or some friend's house?
no, well, I leave for the winter, so I have moved my car to a friend's house, but it's perfectly fine on the street. Well, I don't know. I haven't been there with a snowplow. But if I knew a snowplow was coming, I'd probably move my car. But it's worked like that for, this house was probably originally built in the 50s.
Yeah, no, I'm not going against what's been happening in the past. I'm definitely not against it. I'm just saying, how do I explain it in a nice way? As we move forward in time, let's say, God forbid, you had to sell this property to a family who has, 2 kids, and they put their kids and everybody's in there, and then they have their 2 cars, and they live there year-round. We can't have them parking in the street. Again, if you could park in the street, why can't your neighbor park in the street? Why can't the neighbor across the street park in the street? Why can't everybody just park in the street and just, fill in all the parking lots with grass and make more property? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to be, out of place. I'm just, if there was a way to put on your plan that we park here, not in the actual street, because only thing that's happening in town is everything is getting bigger and everything is getting sized out, but nothing is being corrected. So when a plow has to come down the street in a really bad year, and let's say you're living here year-round now, you're gonna have to find a spot to get your car or 2 cars or whatever these bedrooms amount of people have to move out of the way. I don't think the town should have to have this burden. And so you're growing this house exponentially in size. I know you're just going up, but you're adding all the square footage. It only seems to make sense that you should have to, if you're correcting the house problem, you should correct the lot problem too. I know you've done a lot of work. I'm not saying you didn't do your due diligence. I'm not saying you didn't do it. I'm just saying this was obviously overlooked.
There's no room on the lot to add parking. There's none. So
Doesn't that seem weird as a catch, as a homeowner?
I bought the house like that. I bought the house and parked right out front. I didn't think it was a problem at the time.
I mean,
It
I'll ask
doesn't seem to have been a problem, but
I'll ask the board. I just,
don't know what.
you're not the only person this has happened to, where they add more bedrooms and we say you have to have more parking, and they're parking literally in their front against their house. I'll ask the board. I mean, I'm only one person. Kevin?
It is a problem because, the emergency vehicles have to go down to the nook and to get through, and it's not fair to everybody else that cars are parked in the road or the street, and vehicles can't get by, emergency vehicles. If there's a fire, an ambulance, it makes it tough on everybody.
They've already been by. I would like if you could come and look at the property, and make a field trip, because emergency vehicles go down there all the time. My next door neighbor had to because the town didn't give us a street sign, she ordered her own street signs so that emergency vehicles could find Grandview Avenue. So we've had fire trucks. Well, only Santa Claus so far in the fire truck, but.
I get
emergency
that, I
vehicles,
know.
Garbage trucks,
The
big.
bylaw says you need 2 parking spaces for 2 bedrooms, house.
On your property.
So in other words, nobody can live in that house because there's no parking.
Well, no, we just discussing with Jason, it's not easy, and I get that. You can make a raised parking area or some sort of way. There's always a way. It's just a matter of who wants to do the work and who wants to do the due diligence. That's the first thing I noticed. Your property's literally against, I hate to say it, I don't know if anybody's really taken a look at your site plan. The front right corner of your house touches the actual layout of the street. Like touches it.
I know, but it's been, I don't know.
I know, it's been there, I'm just saying, but you have a deck there, no problem, and you have, the picture has a deck, you have no problem having a deck there, but.
But
you-
it's way lower than the street. I just don't,
You could easily fill that in, build it up, and put a parking spot there. It just doesn't fit with what you wanna do with your house. Therein lies the scope of the problem, what I'm getting at. You're willing to do anything you can to make this house great and have decks and all this stuff, but didn't think of where you were gonna park your car on your own property.
I didn't think of it because I've owned it since 2005. The parking has not
Is
been
there a
an
deck
issue.
there now? Well, that's the thing, no, because it was just, it didn't have there was no mechanism to correct the problem. This became the mechanism to correct it. Is the deck existing right now on the right side?
The deck is existing, but I'm moving it forward to meet the other deck.
I don't know, like Doug. I get both sides of the coin here, but
Yeah, I'm hearing both. There's gotta be some way
yeah,
that,
Could you
Doug-
guys come and visit the property?
it wouldn't
Do you
matter. Even
wanna
on
do
paper, it
that?
doesn't work.
On paper, it doesn't work. If you came and visited, then I think you might understand it, but
and I think maybe there could be a way that Doug could figure out a parking situation.
I mean, I think it can happen. It's just a matter of, again, I get what it is. It's money and time. But, I mean, if you're already
Well,
putting
she's
this-
gone this far.
That's what I'm saying. You put this
Yeah.
much time into it,
And that's
it's
why.
gotta be something that can be
and
figured out.
Doug's a bright guy, and I'm sure he could probably work something out.
Was that the person who did it? Or you
Doug
did-
Friesen,
Oh, good. Like you're talking about yourself? You
no,
went out there and
no,
figured it
no,
out?
no.
Good guy. I'm not against this
Duxboro
project by
Designs.
any, yeah, I'm not against this project by any means. I'm just trying to get you correct.
Right. So otherwise, it's just gonna, it's snowball.
Yes, yes. Marcia, do you want to speak?
Oh, yeah. You have 2 bedrooms in the house currently, is that right?
yes,
And when you bought it in 2005, it had two bedrooms in it. Is that
Yes.
right?
yes,
And you've never had any on-site parking. Since 2005, you've always parked on the street.
yes,
And you never had any problems with that.
no,
Have you ever had the lot survey?
yes. Steve Moran, you guys have the survey.
Okay, and you agree with the survey insofar as the proximity of your house to the town right away?
Yes,
And you agree that it's tight, right, for parking?
Yeah.
And the reason,
I will say that it has never occurred to me that it was tight. I mean, according to the survey, yes, it looks like I'm parking, that my property's in the road, but the road is pretty wide. I've never had a problem parking my car and having huge trucks go down past my cars, go down the street. So it didn't ever feel tight.
So, you know, while you had 2 bedrooms and you could have had 2 kids and 2 cars and lived there year round, it was never a problem. And the reason that you come to the town is because you want to, you want to use your upstairs that you currently have.
Yes.
Is that right? How many square feet are currently usable in your upstairs?
Well, I haven't used the upstairs.
No,
It's
no,
just
I
the
understand
attic.
that, but you would
The-
have, like, it stand
The
up.
house itself is 880 square feet. I am not using all that upstairs. Good half of it will remain attic, or about half. So I just wanted to put a bedroom, really an extra bathroom would be very nice. And a nice, but I need an office because I have file cabinets and all that, so.
I think the parking requirement is triggered by the number of bedrooms you have, not by whether you have an office, a home office or
Right.
not. How many square feet are you planning on the relocated second bedroom in your new bath?
Well,
How
I
big?
don't know exactly.
You don't, because you don't have.
My architect was supposed to be here, but he had a funeral in Canada, and he's flying home late tonight.
Okay.
So he could tell you that exactly, but you guys have the plans. We did have to I wanted to use the whole space, but we had to modify it, make a smaller area. So it's about 50% of the 880.
Why did you have to modify it?
Because FEMA requires that, I think that the building inspector could explain that better, but the FEMA didn't allow 100%. They wanted that you could only do about 50% of the value of the house. My architect has a different idea of what the value is, but whatever, we just modified it, made it smaller, and kept a good amount of attic upstairs.
I don't have a problem with it. If you bought a 2-bedroom house with no parking in 2005, and you're
15.
Marcia, do you have the plans in front of you?
no, I thought she was asking for a continuance.
I know
thought
too.
So I'm so sorry.
I,
But we-
Marcia, I would, in your best interest, I would take a look at the plans before you,
Well, again, I just think on the principle of that it's like a pre-existing condition that, it's not like she's exacerbating the parking situation there. She never had parking, and she's not increasing the number of bedrooms, so that's my only point.
all right.
I don't have a problem with it.
So it looks like you're also finishing the basement.
No, we're not. We have to, I guess you weren't at the last couple of meetings, but we have to reinforce the basement a little to carry the weight on the floor. So we're just doing structural,
If that's the case, then I'm gonna put my 2 cents, because if there was that much spoken about, then I'll have to do the Mullins rule, either catch up or not be part of the vote. But if you have to fix the foundation, and from your proposed plan, which shows your existing conditions in your proposed plan, you could fix this problem and at least get a parking spot on the right side of this house. But you would have to lose some of your old existing deck and correct some of the problem that you have a little doghouse walkout. Looks like it's underneath the proposed new deck.
yes, it's the basement door, yeah.
Right, so you have a full-size basement door is what I'm getting at.
Yes,
So that means you have a full-size basement a full-size first floor and a full-size second floor, 2 bedrooms, almost 2,000 square feet, not a stitch of parking on your property.
Right.
So I guess from my standpoint is this could be fixed. It's just, not to be mean, no one wants to fix it. It could be easily fixed.
No, believe me.
I'm not being mean. I'm not saying you, not you personally. I'm saying it wasn't caught in all the layout, the paperwork,
It's the bottom one.
that there's no, I mean,
We did discuss parking at the last zoning board.
and what was your answer to that?
This is
felt that
way,
it was-
this is.
Your answer was,
way
will this
too-
continue to
is
park
way
in the
too low.
street?
She can't put parking there, she can't.
It,
She could do is-
I mean, I guess you have to think farther into the future, let's say you gave this to one of your children, or you sold it because you wanted to live in Florida full-time, and someone else picked it up, and they were gonna live there around the clock. And there's 2 bedrooms with the ability to increase potential bedrooms down the road. You think it's okay for this one property to have the ability to park in the street? So why can't your other neighbors just all park in the street? You get what I'm saying?
some of them do, actually, but
So-
they might have, a lot of them park in the street. I mean,
But that's the problem with our law is we don't allow people to park in the street just because in other words, if that was for me, I'd just make my house as big as I could to the edges and park in the street. What do I care?
the property is so tiny, there's no.
I know.
Really, there's no room.
Well, there's plenty of room for decks. You know what I'm saying?
The deck is over the marsh. I can't put the parking over the marsh.
Yeah, the elevation of
one
that
deck,
deck is way too low from the street.
It's gonna have to be,
Couldn't do it.
it's gonna have to be, the house is so much lower than the street that parking is gonna have to be almost up to the second story to pull in there off the street. It's gonna look kind of ridiculous, but
The elevation change is different. The only thing she could actually do is build a little
Thing in the
retaining
front.
wall in front of the house,
Yeah.
parallel to the street.
Yeah.
Just kick it in a couple of feet if she had to, and not the whole length of the house, just a little bit to the left side of the house. But, I mean, I've been
there
there.
is
I've been there my whole
land
life.
that,
Excuse,
I'm sorry,
my whole
I'm
life.
sorry.
There's enough parking, I don't know, and last time we talked about it, we didn't have an issue with it, so, and like Marcia said, the house has been there, she's not changing the occupancy of it. It's the same that it was, if she didn't do the addition, if she didn't put the addition up, no one wouldn't even be a discussion.
No, I understand that.
So-
I understand what you're
And
saying.
I think just because she's trying to better the house shouldn't be an issue. It's an existing addition. I think that we've allowed existing additions in the past. And I think this is an existing addition that can be allowed, in my opinion.
It was a summer cottage.
That's what I'm getting now. It's a full.
Well, now it's a full.
It's a mega house
Yeah.
compared to what's there.
Oh, it's
On the
not, it's not a mega house.
No. I
800
don't mean
square
it.
feet,
I
I'll put
don't mean it that way.
four
I'm saying
more.
to what it is currently. It's going basically from a summer house, single story, probably a basement that is used for boats and stuff. This is going to be a full size, livable, 365 a day house.
It's been a winter conditioned house for over 30 years.
Yeah. I would favor 50 years. And I mean, your lot size is 2,400 square feet, and your new house is gonna be the same square footage as your lot size.
But I'm not increasing that. It's
You're
the
increasing,
same,
you're not increasing the footprint, you're increasing the living
No.
space.
right.
Are you increasing the lot coverage?
No,
No.
she's not.
No. I mean, I don't know where this argument that, you could add more bedrooms to this house in the future. It sounds like the lot is so tiny, that it would be impossible to squeeze a third
And-
bedroom.
Again, Marcia, I think you need to see the plans before you say that.
Again, Paul, I will,
Yeah.
all right? But right now, based upon everything I've heard, and everything I know about this project without looking at the site plans, I believe you when you say it's small. But it's been small since 2005 and probably long before that. And nobody complained about the parking in 2005, nobody questioned it then.
Well, she said she wasn't there, she was only there part-time.
2015,
Well, do you wanna
2015, I bought it.
And the town could have conditioned it when it got converted from a summer cottage to full-time use.
When?
to
How?
being Summer use only.
That's not true. What are you talking, no, that would never happen. It never would come
There's
from a
tons
board.
of, there are lots and lots of communities that have seasonal zoning restrictions on properties. There are. I'm happy to provide you with those details.
I don't
But
think
somehow
that,
it went from
Marcia, I
a
don't think
cottage.
that's an issue here.
Yeah, this isn't,
It's not an issue.
and I know the town has no idea. Obviously, she was not aware of the fact that when she bought her house in 2005, someone didn't say, hey, by the way, we just park in the road. It's cool around here. You know, obviously that wasn't part of her deed. Someone would have, someone would be like, yeah, this is a seasonal home. This is what's been going on for years. I mean, when I look at the layout of the road, your deck is in the street, in the road. So in theory, if the town wanted to, they could just take the edge of that deck that's there and everything in front of your yard and dig it for whatever they want, any reason. I'm not against you in this in any way. I'm just trying to correct this problem for the future coming forward. If you go to sell this house, to be honest, you might be stuck with this house forever. If someone to go, oh yeah, there's no parking. Oh, well, what do you do for parking? We park in the street. And suddenly the town goes, we don't allow that period anymore. You know what I mean? And you'd be stuck with this property forever until you figured out a way to put parking on your house. It becomes, in other words, it becomes your burden down the road at a later date. Yes, you get your addition, it's great, whatever. I'm just saying thinking forward into the future, past 5 years, past 10 years. And you go to sell this property and there's no parking at all on there. And you go, well, it was allowed back in 2024, that still might not fly when it gets sold. I'm trying to help you correct this before this compounds itself. That's all I'm saying. Jason, it looks like you have something to say.
So I just want to bring up a couple of things. We have discussed from the very beginning with the applicant the fact that parking is an issue.
Okay, that's what I thought.
They chose to move the application forward with the argument that they could park in the street. The original plans showed, and she discussed, needing an additional bedroom for the conversion to have family come over and spend time. And obviously, if the plan showed the additional bedroom, additional bedroom automatically in the bylaw calls for another parking space, and it would have required a variance request in addition to the special permit request. So ramping back the floor plans to show, to not include an additional bedroom was a solution, but again, it added that square footage to the structure. Not necessarily triggering a parking space, but clearly adding square footage to the existing structure. So I would argue that the board should make a decision that in one way or another, is the additional space added to this home substantially more detrimental than the existing home? That's what the special permit threshold is. That's what the determination of the board should be. Is it substantially more detrimental as proposed or not? And I think that's for the board, to decide. I would say from as administrators, we have problems down the Nook with proximities. Anyone that goes down, we have problems with drainage between lots. We have problems with parking between lots and people parking areas. It's an issue. We have drainage on several streets where relief has been granted. So expressing relief in the form of a special permit may sound or seem incidental to someone, but can have major impacts for all of us down the road, whether it's drainage issues, parking issues, and things like that. So again, to bring it back, is the application, does it represent substantially more detrimental conditions to the neighborhood? That's all. Thank you.
Well, let me, I'll pull the board one more time. Who saw this from the beginning? Bob, you saw this from the beginning?
Pardon?
You saw this from the very beginning?
Yeah.
Kevin?
I saw it, but I don't remember seeing any parking space plans or
I'm just
anything
saying,
like that.
were you
They
here
wanted
since the
to just
beginning?
fix something on the
Our last
side.
meeting, we we didn't think it was gonna be, it wasn't a problem. We just talked, there was enough room to park, technically on the street, but there's enough room for it to get off the street far enough that vehicles can pass it.
I'm just asking if you were here from the
Right,
beginning. I wasn't here
and
from the beginning.
And that's the discussion we had last time, we didn't have a problem with it.
Were you here since the beginning?
I was here at the very beginning.
All right, very good. Marcia, were you here at the very beginning?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I think you
Was
were,
I?
Marcia, you were sitting way over on the left side. So you did have the plans in front of
I
you.
know I
No, no,
have
that's
them.
not what I'm getting at.
And they're in my office. I could go dig them out.
First came?
Yeah, I can't remember.
No.
I don't remember us ever having this
So
kind of
23,
spirited
yes.
discussion about parking, though.
It wasn't
The only reason I ask that is if we want to move forward, I might have to abstain because I'll have to do the Mullins rule to see what I missed from this beginning argument, which would mean you would need all 4 members that I just asked, if they've been here since the beginning, to vote. You'd have to be unanimous between the 4. That's where I'm gonna abstain off of this until I know what happened prior, because to me, you're willing to put a lot of money to make this house look really beautiful down there, but again, we're just missing out on the fact that there's no parking there. It seems to be to me, just a very big miss. When it can be corrected, I'm just saying, no, so.
I would like you to come visit.
Oh, I understand that. I can't, how do I say it? Every house that we've been dealing with down the Nook for the last decade plus, all these houses have gotten bigger, more square footage, not the layout, I understand that. But these are all summer cottages that were tiny and that were, here in the summer, and now these are becoming houses that people want to live there 24/7. And the only way to fix all these little nuanced problems that we've had over the years, sewer came in, which fixed a lot of it, one major problem down there, and now these houses are getting bigger. Other houses are correcting. They're putting their houses, they're parking off the street. They're building a higher area where they can park everything so that nothing's in the road, and everything's basically slowly correcting in a good pattern. And I just want to make sure it's possible to be done. I just don't know if anybody wants to take up the plan of doing it. So I'm just going to abstain on this one until, or we can continue it and maybe the problem gets corrected. But that's not going to be for me. I'll keep my mouth quiet.
Can I ask that we continue this and you talk to an engineer and see if you can get a driveway in there?
That's what I would suggest too, Kevin.
That's what I
Okay,
was suggesting.
but
that she
now,
does.
there is an area that I pull my car over, but it's owned by the town. There's a little, the beach is down there. What do you call
That's
it?
not gonna work.
Something can be done. It just
Maybe I could buy the land from the town of Kingston.
no. I'm not pushing you in that direction anyway, and I don't think they're going to give you more because that's a road layout, and the road's already tiny as it is. There's got to be a way to figure this out. I know it's just going to be money.
I think our engineer can figure it out.
It's just money, but there is a way. I mean, if you're already
If you could see it.
if you're already fixing your foundation, that means you are going to have a concrete guy there. There is a way to fix this. I'll stop talking, just because I'm up to speed. But there is a way to fix this. At least get one car, which I think would satisfy even the smallest of people. But 0 cars. Just saying, I'm not changing the footprint, but I'm doubling my house size. And then I have the ability, if I sell it to someone else who doesn't know any better, that you could probably put 4 bedrooms into this house. And then you have at least 4 cars on the street. So again, I don't want to exacerbate a problem that's already down there. And I'm sure an engineer could figure something out simple, but
It is.
again, you guys can continue it, you guys can condition it, if you guys are cool with it, you guys can be cool with it, but I'm gonna abstain, from voting on this one. I guess you guys can make a motion, or you guys can do whatever you want.
Would you like to continue it to talk to an engineer, see if you can get a parking space in there?
If I have to, I will, but it's been a long,
We just can't
Awesome.
allow parking in the road.
okay, well, I'll have to see what I can do. I don't think an engineer is gonna solve it either, but you have to see the site to realize how far down my lot goes from the road. It's quite a ways down. But I'll talk to an engineer.
Did you have who's the engineer that did your site plan? or-
Moran,
Moran?
He's just a surveyor.
Oh, surveyor. Or who did your,
the architect is Doug Friesen.
The architect Doug Friesen did the plans.
yeah, so ask
I
him.
don't really have an engineer yet, but
Well, I ask him. He might be able to even do something, or I'm sure he knows somebody and say, listen, I'm having a problem with parking. And to be honest, he'll probably come back and go, yes, you do have a problem with parking. And you'll be like, why didn't you tell me earlier? And he'll be like, it probably wasn't brought up.
Grady can take a look at
You
it.
know what I mean? So I feel bad it's being brought up now. It's because it's my first time seeing it, and that's why I'm abstaining from it. If I had seen it earlier, I would have said something, and I apologize.
I think it was.
For what it's worth, I think she's met the criteria to get a special permit, and I don't think it's fair to keep kicking this can down the road. I don't recall when this first came before the board, but it was last fall, right?
September.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
I just
left
think we
that,
should make a
Marcia,
decision.
Marcia, you can make a
I
motion.
thought, you know, I move that the special permit be granted without the parking.
Can I get a second? All right.
I want to try to second it, but I think what we have to do is, if Susan ever sold the house, I think.
That's not before the board.
No, but
Or
if-
the board.
on a condition we.
It is before the board.
Excuse me,
This
on a
property
con-
isn't forever.
On a condition, we could do that if she ever decided to sell the house, the new owner would have to take a look at a parking expansion. But I think that,
Then, that
I
would be
think
a
that
great,
she's, I think that.
I would support
I
that
think-
as an amendment to my motion.
So I think that would be one way to look at it, but I do think it's a little bit unfair. She's been here with us before, and I think this at the very end is
It's tough. I get that. But
I
they,
left the last board meeting with almost the understanding that it would be approved if conservation approved. So we did everything that we had to do with conservation, so I'm just disappointed that it's,
I'm disappointed that someone didn't bring this up to you. This seems very, I mean, this is,
we talked about the parking, but I think, like Marcia said, it was just, they realized there really isn't a way to fix it.
there is a way to fix it. It just costs money. That's my point.
It's not the money, it's the ridiculousness of trying to put this, I can't drive down a steep driveway.
No, I never said
The
that.
car won't go down the steep driveway.
All right.
They have to be lifted way up in the air.
Exactly. They'd have to basically put some sort of retaining walls, fill in the walls in with basically fill, and then give you a paver driveway or crushed stone driveway that pulls in right off the side of the street, which, I don't wanna be mean, companies do it down in the nook. I've seen it. I know it for a fact. I know it's high. I'm just saying
I
it's
don't
not
think you've seen
impossible.
my
It just
particular-
costs
But Paul,
money.
Paul,
You
that
haven't
would be
seen
more
my
detrimental to the neighborhood. Having a retaining wall in this very sensitive area that abuts, I mean. that we
But
made a
adding,
big deal-
but doubling the size of a house isn't?
I mean, they're just.
Conservation
they're
didn't think
talking
so.
about building that
Hey,
costs
again, I'm
money.
not voting on this, so there's a motion on the floor. It just needs to be a second, and then I'll take a vote. I'm not voting on it, so I'll keep quiet. Sorry. So, is there a second?
I second it.
There's a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, Marcia.
Aye.
Aye, Bob. I don't want to take this vote.
I didn't want to either.
I didn't wanna take a vote. I wanted to see about an engineer, see if they fix the driveway, cause you need a parking space.
That's what I wanted. That's why I suggested it right
So
from the get-go.
Can I move to please just continue this? To give you a chance? I don't want to take this vote, and maybe.
Please
maybe some-
continue this.
Please have some sort of counsel tell you to continue this vote.
All right,
You've come this far.
The only reason saying that, I'm sure Marcia's picking up what I'm putting down, because if you're denied this vote and you don't get 4, you cannot come back in front of us for 2 years without a change, a substantial
All right.
change.
then please, let's have a continuance. But I would also implore you to come
I'll come down,
in
I'll even come
person
down.
and see my property. I will be there April 11th, and I would really.
I don't know if I'll be
appreciate
available the
game.
specific date, I'm just saying I'll come down and take a look. Any of the board members will take a look, some of them I'm sure know, I know it.
I can look out from my house.
Yeah, so,
Susan, I would recommend that you just talk to Grady and talk to Doug Friesen, Grady Consultants. Explain the situation. Scott Grady is pretty good he's done a lot of work down the Nook. Ask him for his opinion, and I think he can come up with a solution for you.
I'm not trying to break your bank, I'm just trying to correct your future problem. You just don't see it.
A lot of neighbors that down there have built those composite walls. You can see them, how they've built them and they've added, and they're pretty easy to do. Little composite wall, it adds space, it adds parking. A couple of your neighbors have already done it, so just take a look at that, Susan, so.
When's the next date? Like I said, I don't wanna push this vote. I know there was a motion, I don't know I don't wanna get in trouble here. Jason, do you know procedure, so I don't screw this up? Marcia made a motion, there is a second.
Tell you what, I'll take back my second.
Withdraw your second.
Then the motion doesn't carry.
No, okay, no, I don't wanna do that. I don't wanna do that.
Make a motion that we continue it with another meeting and let Susan talk to a site engineer to possibly come up with a solution. That's what I recommend.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay, I'm not in favor without some specificity. Are you gonna send this woman off? What if the engineer says, no, it'll cost $50,000? I mean, what are you doing? What are you directing?
She's not coming back for 2 years.
Marcia, do you realize the
Marcia,
ramifications of the reverse?
If we vote no, she can't do it for 2 years, Marcia.
I understand.
That closes the door.
I understand.
We're leaving the door open.
Then just, why didn't you tell her that in September when she applied? I feel terrible for this woman. I think that we've done a grave disservice to her. I do, and I apologize.
But what if, to put this in perspective, what if this was a giant building putting in 5 bedrooms, or 5, whatever, and we just happened to miss something like drainage, or we missed
Let's
something,
stick to-
whatever, and we say, it's a disservice, it's been 2 years, we should have talked about it at
Let's
the
stick
beginning.
to the facts here.
The fact
It's an
is, she has no
800
parking.
square
You guys shouldn't have
foot building.
entertained it from the beginning.
So
That's right.
if
We
we give it a
shouldn't have.
1 in the Nook, we gotta give it to everyone in the Nook.
Correct.
Oh, gentlemen, do you hear yourself? I heard the town planner say this has happened before. I've heard you say this has happened before, when the circumstances make it impossible. And that's where we find ourselves. Or if Susan goes out and consults with Grady Engineering, and they come back and say, it is just fiscally imprudent, it would be an impossibility, or I wouldn't recommend it. Are you gonna deny it then? I mean, that's my question. That's my question. Are we just like kicking this can down the road?
What
so we
happens
can
if they come back
feel
with a
better
solution to
about
fix it?
denying it?
What if, yeah,
If they
Kevin said, what
if
if
they
they come
say
back with a
it
solution to
can't
fix
be
it? Or
fixed.
what if other houses in that area do the exact same
Then
thing that's going on
let's
tonight?
deal with
Everybody-
those as they
Everybody
come.
on my street's already gone up a second story.
I'm not against your project at all. I'm not against it. If anything, I'm in favor of it.
We
I
just need a
want
parking space.
Yeah, I just want to correct, just something corrected. You know, I mean, did you get mad when sewer came down? You had to connect the sewer even though you had a septic system probably already there? And you had to pay a betterment in order to improve? My point is each of these things improves the conditions of the nook. There's a law here, and I know we're the board that do it, but you're going from a seasonal house with one car that comes half of the year to a full-size, beautiful house with 2 bedrooms.
You're misstating the facts. This is a year-round residence as it currently exists. This woman just happens to occupy it seasonally.
Right.
But I'm.
So
I
it's
asked
not
her, where does she
seasonal.
park? I asked her, where does she park when the snowplow comes? She goes, I go to someone else's house. So
Because I
I
moved
haven't been there for the snowplow yet, but I'm sure it would handle it. If it,
We've had this argument with other properties. Again, I'm on the vote. You guys can, Marcia, you can continue
I
with
voted
them.
no. I mean,
You
it's
vote
gonna
no.
carry whether I vote yay, no or not. I mean, your decision to do what you've done, to make her go consult with an engineer. I don't know where that's gonna get you.
but I'd rather continue than have you vote no, because I can't wait for 2 more years. I'm 74 years old. I want my house to be the pretty house
understand.
that I've been planning on for a couple of years already. So, I agree to continue. I will ask for a continuance.
Very good.
I just want to make sure I'm not getting myself into trouble here. Jason, speak to me in town hall terms. The motion has moved, a second has been taken back up. Can we go with the applicant before the vote is taken and go to a continuance?
If I heard, it sounded to me like the board was motioning for a continuance, and that has to be voted on by the 5 members of the board to accept. And if 5 don't accept, they don't accept. It's totally up to you. If the board wanted to force a decision, it could tonight and not accept the continuance, so I think.
Yeah, I
it's up-
understand that. I'm
but-
just trying to put the toothpaste back in the tube, per se, without doing something wrong that will.
So your first motion that Marcia
Marcia
made,
made, yep,
Bob retracted his second.
okay.
That's off the floor.
All
So
right, so
this-
then we can move to the new one. And do I need to have all the same members vote to continue it again, or do I need 3? Because Marcia, technically, it's basically 1, 2, 3, 4.
Whoever happens to be on yes, correct.
Do I need all 4 to continue it?
No,
Okay.
just a simple majority.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the word I needed. All right. All right, thank you. I'm just making sure I'm not trying to step on any toes. I just want to back it up a little bit. Let's continue it, all right? When's the next one she can be here? So this is very quick for her.
So May 1st, we have 60 Country Club Way and 160 Summer Street.
Yeah, it don't matter, because if this can be justified and fixed.
Well, I'm not gonna be home till April 11th, and so I'm gonna need time to meet with some engineers, so,
Should we go to June?
I'm probably gonna need a little time.
We have.
And Paul, I want to be clear, what are we continuing it for? For her to produce,
It doesn't matter.
That
We're continuing the fact that if the motion were to carry, it wouldn't happen. So
I know.
I'm trying to help her to figure out a way to get a parking spot off of the street. Not me. You guys as a collective board are trying to figure out a way for her to make what she wants happen. I mean,
so if she cannot produce evidence from an engineer at the next continued hearing that she can in fact have one on-site.
I don't even know,
park-
it's supposed to be 2. The law says 2.
Or-
She has 2 bedrooms.
That's what I'm trying to nail down. She's supposed to try to get one or
I can't do
two.
two, there's no room for two.
So one, let's send her out of here with some specificity as to what would likely result in a permit for her, not a forced
Marcia,
in.
Marcia, I don't know the answer to this, to be perfectly honest. You have, I guess, Marcia, if you want to take the lead, you're welcome to take the lead and figure out what makes the board make the vote happen.
Again, I'm just trying to find out, you champion the parking issue, so I'm trying to figure out what are we asking her to do? Provide us with proof that she can park.
To be perfectly
one
honest, I know any
or two
engineer in the
vehicles.
world civil could make a 2 parking spot at that property, no problem.
So it's one vehicle.
That's
I-
not true.
It's
Any
one
engineer
vehicle.
can you have the property there, it's, again, it just
Can be done.
costs money. It can be done.
It can be done.
I don't have the property there. You need to come and look at it, please.
Susan, it can be done, trust me.
I'm not trying to be mean, anything can be done. If you can put, if you can reinforce your foundation in that house to go up a whole nother story, it can be done. I'm not trying to be mean, by any means, I'm trying to help you. I'm just trying to correct the issue so it's correct for you, and it goes as fast as possible. I am not against you in any way. I'm just trying to get you to realize that this shouldn't be happening, and it should have been noticed maybe up front, and would have changed some decisions earlier on. Everybody was too focused on the house and too focused on the deck, and didn't focus on one of the factors, which was parking. Everybody was focused on the other parts, the aesthetics, the other parts. Pieces of the puzzle weren't there to begin with. So I'm just putting it out there that this is what should be done. I'm not a voting member currently. I have to watch another video. I'm saying there is an option. I know there's an option, but again, Marcia, you're welcome to figure out what makes the board say yes. That's basically the only answer I can give you. I don't know the answer to it, whether you prove it or prove it not.
Then I'm asking for what are the board, let's poll the board and find out what
All right,
are
all
we
right,
looking
all right.
for?
Bob, what do you think would help correct the situation?
What do you want this woman to do? I don't
I would
think
say,
she
what
should
do
have
I
to
want
do
this
anything.
All right,
applicant to do?
unofficially, I think that it would work the way she's proposing it, but I also realize that if we do that, Marcia, the other board members don't agree with it, and if they vote it down no, it's gonna make the situation worse. So I think we should continue it to see if she can get an easy solution. And if she can't, say la vie, we're back to where we are right here, right now. So let's be pragmatic. I think Grady's helped a lot of people down there, I know that for a fact. If she,
That's
talks
one
to
engineer,
him.
you don't have to take him as an engineer, that's just one engineer that we know.
That's just
there.
one person that we know. I'm not trying to force I'm not trying to give you the answer to the problem, just to say there is a there is a way to look at it. I think that if we go with it, Marcia, we vote no, the rest of the board votes no, then it doesn't help Susan at all. So I vote to continue it.
Carla,
I vote to continue it and try to find a parking solution here.
Doug,
As I said right from the get-go, I thought we were going to continue this, and then I heard we were going to open it a bit, and that's why I suggested wait till Doug gets back, Doug Friesen from Duxboro, have a discussion with him, and we'll see you sometime in May or June.
Marcia, what do you
I don't
feel?
think she should have to do anything. So,
Very good. All right. Susan, again, even if it wasn't you, you did a good job in front of us tonight. Even if it wasn't you, your architect would be taking all this and then having to relate to you what we were saying to him. So it was actually better that you were here to basically be on top of this. I know you have this property. I know you want to get this property quickly. I understand everything there. I just want to get a resolution to this quicker. And again, I'm not voting on it. I just don't want you to put yourself in a situation in the future where you have a bigger problem. That being said, want to make a motion for June 5th? Or would you rather later May?
Later May would work,
I
I
mean,
think.
if you want, you could leave your info with Deb and someone could reach out to you possibly.
I have Sue's info.
Deb's reached out to me a lot, so she's got my info.
The third Wednesday in May is May 15th. We have Wapping Road at 7 o'clock.
No, that should go pretty well. So May 17th?
15th.
15th.
Does that work, Sue? May
I make a
15th?
motion to, can you just do this to May 15th, after Susan consults with her architect to try to come up with a solution for the parking.
At 7:05?
Yes.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Who's second?
Kevin. Marcia, you don't have to take a vote, but
Nay.
you're welcome to. All
I
right,
don't have to, I go nay anyway.
very good. Thank you. Next on the agenda is 70 Summer Street. We'll read the public hearing and then we'll go from there. Is that it?
Public hearing will be held, Town Hall, 26 Evergreen Street, room 200, Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Applicant must seek a variance per section 10.4 zoning board of appeals per section 10.4B powers subsection 3 in order to modify footnote number 8B, page 31 ZBL, requiring specific setbacks in order to construct a 6-unit residential second and third floor and business use on the first floor at 70 Summer Street. ZBA review mixed-use building plans by Off the Grid Architectural and Space Planning Site Plan by Grady Consultant, LLC, dated February 29. In a future planning board meeting, applicant must also seek a special permit per section 5-page 31, table of usage, from the planning board to include site plan approval in order to construct a 6-unit residential business use.
Jason?
Good evening. In this context, I appear before you as a Community Development Director. I myself have worked with the new owner of this property, sat with them a few times, encouraged to see that someone's stepped up and purchased the property and is interested in finishing it. I know that there's relief before you tonight, and there's additional relief that would be requested in front of the planning board for a special permit for the property. I just became aware of some dissenting comments coming out of planning and conservation. I just read through them briefly, but I just want to reiterate that I've worked with the applicant. I feel that in this case, it's very clear that the board has the right to grant relief, and that absent any appeal, that relief is totally fine and within the control of the board to grant that relief. This relief is step one of a two-step process to allow for the applicant to appear in front of the planning board to create some additional residential units downtown in the center of Kingston, where we're encouraging. We've got new businesses, we've got a new brewery in there, we've got a new hairdresser across the street, and I'd love to see some more residences downtown. So I'd ask that you put all due consideration for this as the applicant describes. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for him, guys, before he walks away? Nope.
No.
All right. Take it away.
Thank you. Kevin Grady from Grady Consulting, representing the applicant for the variance. Initially, we were considering asking for a continuance to have time to respond to town planners.
What's
remarks.
the concern? I mean,
Her opinion is that it doesn't meet the standards for the variance, owing to the shape and topography of the lot.
okay.
She also opined on there was work done there without permits previously. And I don't know that that has bearing on this application, but she, wrote a 2-page letter in opposition. So, I figured, since I live in town, I'd come down and talk to you anyway.
Right.
And lay out the details of the variance. So you're familiar with the site, it's behind the post office, next to the Stinky Monkey tattoo. That building was constructed in 1965, so it predates zoning. One of the things
That used to be like an old, like repair shop, correct? Like a
I think
car
so,
lot?
yeah, was that,
The uniform place,
That was, I think
Oh,
that
yeah.
was after the fact, but I think it was an old car lot prior.
yeah.
I thought the Stinky Monkey was Nickerson.
That could have been. There was definitely a building, I just didn't know what it did.
I just went to the post office, I never went back there.
Carry on, sorry.
So the building is located in a pre-existing non-conforming location. The requirements for setbacks are 50 from the front, 30 from the side and rear. The building meets the front setback requirement. It's 230 feet from the street. It is 19.7 feet from the side lot line and 17.8 from the rear lot line. The applicant would like to construct a third floor to increase the number of units within the building to not more than 6 dwelling units. That use is allowed by a special permit from the planning board, so it does meet the standard for issuance of a permit, section A, where the requirement is that variances may not authorize the use or an activity not otherwise permitted. This is permitted. It does have another layer. It needs to go to the planning board to meet the planning board standards for this use. Essentially, you know, those uses are going to be, is there enough parking? Does it have drainage? Is it going to create traffic? Does it have sewage capacity? We've vetted all that out. We've prepared the application. We actually submitted it and were asked to withdraw it until we got this permit in place.
Why would you go in front of the planning board first, then ask for the,
Because they would not be able to,
because they're gonna give us controls that we would, in other words, by allowing you to go, I guess what's is the variance saying that you guys are creating more square footage? I don't get what the.
so the variance, I believe, is because we're changing, I guess it's a technical change of use. It's a residential, it's a mixed use now. We're just gonna increase the density of the use.
That's the reason, yeah, Jason, please clear it up for me while.
So what happens, it's actually one of the unique aspects of our bylaw, is that there's one provision that allows for up to 6 units being requested by special permit in front of the planning board, but it specifically carries its own setback requirements that are unique and different from the rest of the book. Those specific footnotes that require those setbacks are the relief that's asked here. The planning board doesn't have the permission to issue variances.
Right.
Dimensional variances, right? This is more or less what it is. The book says they need 30, they have, I don't know, 17 or whatever it might be. That relief of that variance of that footnote setback is what's requested of you. Not the units, not the actual parking, none of that is the relief that's in front of you. It's just varying the setback footnote requirement from, I think, 30 to the.
But the building's already there.
That's exactly right. The building is conforming in and of itself. The expansion, the relief required under that expansion requires a footnote to have the setback in it. So the building's fine the way that it is, but in order to get to that next level use, the special permit use, those additional setbacks are triggered, and that's what's being asked for relief.
And then, is it gonna be under 35 feet when you get to this, because I know it's a flat roof. Or at 35 feet,
Max building height is 40.
so you'd have to be asking for a variance and,
No,
I believe town
that,
center.
yep, town
Oh.
center, yep.
oh, maybe we don't deal with these that much, I don't,
No,
it's like a whole new thing for me, I'm learning like a whole new.
Yep.
Nothing ever shifts down there.
Yes,
So in other words, the more use you get out of the building, the more setback you need, because the building is being more used. So they want more space around it as you get past a certain limit.
correct.
Okay. But the building's already there,
Correct.
and it's already
So
2
that-
floors or 3 floors.
Yep, it's 2 floors. They want to add a 3rd floor, 4 more units. That would be, the hardship, the economic hardship to take the building down and move it to a conforming location.
I don't think you would even conform even if you did move it anywhere on the property pie.
It would be difficult and would probably be denied by conservation because there's wetlands. So that's owing to the topography, that there's wetlands along
From the
the
back of it
rear.
there,
And if you look at the shape of the lot, it's extremely misshapen. It's certainly not a rectangle. It's got 135 feet of frontage, but then it wraps around the Sawtells building and again is out behind Atlantic Insurance. And there's a,
So, then what's the special permit? Is the special permit triggered because of the variance or vice
the
versa?
special permit is, a structure for not more than 6 dwelling units is allowed by special permit from the planning board. If we kept it as 4 units, it's by right, a mixed use by right in the town center zoning district.
So I'm just trying to make sure what we're getting asked is. So we're getting asked for a variance because you guys are trying to basically go up a floor, which will then add more units, which then changes the setback rule because you guys are in the city center.
Correct.
And then are you guys asking us for a special permit
No,
too? Or is
we're-
that a special
we're
permit
just-
through?
So once
planning
we
board.
get relief for setbacks from the pre-existing building, that's the relief we need from you, the variance, then we will follow through with the special permit to the planning board.
Okay, I heard special permit when you was reading it. I didn't know if that was also on top
Yep.
for us.
So-
You're just asking us for a variance.
Correct, for setbacks.
Okay. Still flustered. I know the site really well, so.
We detail that we conform with parking, we have sewer. Stormwater was approved by conservation by the previous owner. So the site conforms in all other manners.
So how many units are currently in the building, and how many units are you trying to go to? So you're just adding 2 units up above it, or 3 units?
4 units on the 3rd floor. So if we look, there's an existing office on the 1st floor,
Yep,
and then there's 2 units on the 2nd floor, and they're
Okay.
looking to add 4 on the 3rd
Residential
floor.
now? Is units
It's
being
mixed use. There's an
gonna be
office,
apartments.
floor, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know, I didn't think there was residential there, okay.
I'm not sure if it's occupied or what.
Yeah,
Because
no,
the
I didn't know it
previous-
was currently
It's not
being
occupied,
used
I
as
know.
Yeah,
residential.
previous owner sold,
Yes, I know it's all like.
Yeah, I thought the building was just kind of vacant.
Was that the repair shop?
Back in the day, it turned into a uniform place,
Yeah,
and then now it's the new building that's 1, 2,
the
3
parking
stories
lot
right
where the
now.
printing place is. You can
Yeah.
see the building from Summer Street.
Yeah.
They just did the siding over.
I guess I'll go in reverse. Marcia, I'll go the opposite way. Marcia, any questions?
No.
Doug?
Nothing yet.
Kevin?
So it's
Oh,
gonna
that's
be
what I'm looking
apartments on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor?
correct.
And retail space on the 1st floor?
It's office at the moment. It's proposed to be office.
Okay. And there's plenty of parking?
Yeah, so on the top of the page to the left of the zoning data, we just make the parking. We lay it out. The office requires 7 spaces. The existing 2 units require 4 spaces, and the proposed 4 would require an additional 8. So 19 required, 19 proposed. If it is an office use, it actually works out pretty well, because that's typically daytime parking, and residences tend to vacate and come back.
If it stopped being an office and it was retail, what would that trigger? Anything?
I'd have to check what is allowed under, under the zoning bylaw.
7 sounds like it should be adequate, but.
I believe, you know, it is town centered, there's a lot of
Is that something we can
opportunity. It could be
condition?
restaurant, could be retail. And they would have to
Yeah, we
request a
change the
use
use.
permit from,
Yeah, it'd be a change of use permit.
Yeah,
so
from
come
the
back.
building.
Just curious.
Yep.
Just didn't know what the parking ramifications were on retail.
Doug, did I ask you? No, Kevin?
That was all I had. There's plenty of parking.
Bob?
I'm good with it.
Yeah, to be perfectly honest, we don't get much city center stuff that moves very much, so I'm not completely familiar with everything that comes with it, but stating that there's obviously different rules and different setbacks, the building's there. So they still have to jump through hoops. In other words, they still have to go through the planning board. Oh, sorry, continue.
correct. So you don't see it because the planning board is the approving authority for this type of use. The only reason we're before you is because we're stuck with this building location. If we had a vacant lot or something, we'd conform. We wouldn't come see you, so that's probably why you don't see it.
Anyone from the public for or against it? All right, there's not much here, so I do have to pull the board before I make a motion, because this variance has to be, a supermajority.
Did we see what the town planners recommend?
What did you say? What does she recommend?
If we grant a variance, it's recommended the variance be limited to the second story, third unit, for a total of 3 units in occupancy. For said third unit be subjected to filing for the required site plan review.
So what is she asking to do? Get rid of a unit?
I believe she's asking for the third floor to be eliminated, but I don't know how that changes the variance request before you.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, exactly. Are you requesting a variance? And this is, so she just says, don't do it, in other words.
Correct.
And I guess your hardship would be what, soils?
Yeah, and the shape of the lot. So, both the soils, because of the significant wetlands adjacent to this, and the shape of the lot with the pre-existing building.
Does Jason have anything to say about this?
Yeah, do you have anything to say other outside of the city center development person? Meaning as, change your hat to building inspector?
So you know, again, I kind of brought to you, I think initially the concept as community development director, I think this is a wonderful idea to bolster downtown, to add some additional residential units. We've also taken the approach to look at the building from life safety standpoint and building code standpoint. And what you'll see is that you take an old building that's been sitting around, and I think it was a car dealership when its originations many, many years ago. And it now could end up being clearly great tax revenue for the town, some units for people to live in, and a new building that's code compliant, so it's going to be life safety systems all up to date. So, you know, I think from an overall standpoint, it's a good transition. It's a redevelopment, and that's a thing that we're really focused on, is redevelopment of existing spaces. The challenges exist for these applicants, just like this one. Once they leave this board, it's not like this is a home run.
Right,
They still have to deal with
planning.
water, they still have to deal with sewer, you know, fire. So there's a lot of additional items. These opportunities that are in front of you right now today are, I think, are opportunities that exist in today's market, right? We're not seeing giant subdivisions being built in Kingston. And so, again, I'd ask of you that you look favorably on it so that they can explore the next step on this. You're not the only backstop on it. I don't think anybody's going to come to you and say that this has created a negative opportunity, because the full review of the intensity of the site and the intensity of the use is going to be reviewed by the planning board. This is really just dimensional relief. So I think it's fairly simple for this board.
Thank you.
That being said, before I make a motion, last chance, I'll go back the other way. Bob,
I'm good.
Kevin,
I'm okay.
Doug,
I'm good.
Marcia.
I'm good.
All right, someone want to make a motion to, I don't hear anything against it, really. Someone want to make a motion to approve the variance?
Did you check the public? Just,
Oh, I did. I thought I reached out to the public earlier. Anyone for or against it in the public? I would say no one said anything before. Anyone make a motion to accept the variance as written? We don't have any
Yeah, I
conditions.
make a motion to accept the variance as written.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Marcia, aye.
Thank you. Very good.
thank you very much.
You're off to your next hurdle.
Yep.
Lastly on the agenda is Miss Carlson, 556 Elm Street. Read that one.
Public hearing will be held. Town Hall, 26 Evergreen Street, room 200, on Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Applicant Sue Carlson, 556 Elm Street, must seek a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals per section 5.1, Table of Usage, page 35, in order to operate a dog kennel as defined by Kingston General and Zoning Bylaw.
Miss Carlson, take it away, please.
Hi, so I guess the terminology is a little bit confusing. It says to operate a dog kennel, but I moved here from another state with my children, and I blame COVID that I came with 5 dogs. And so I wasn't aware that the town of Kingston says that you can only have 4 dogs, but once you cross over to the other side with higher vet bills and expenses and everything else, that you have to get a kennel license in order to have 5, I guess, personal pets or whatnot. So animal control came out and inspected my home and looked at the dogs and the backyard, which is fenced in and everything. I'm actually the last house on Elm Street. The right side of my driveway is the Plimpton-Kingston town line. So I'm set back about 600 feet off Elm Street. I'm on 3.18, 3.10 acres of land. And I met with Jason, paid about $1,000 in fines, fees, and vet bills, and applications and permits, and
Did they make you, did you get a kennel permit? Did they make you get it, or you?
no, I guess that's what I'm here for
Oh,
today.
to not get it.
Yes.
What restrictions does it put on you if you have to get this kennel little thing, license? I don't even know. This is new to me. I've never heard this one, so this is a new one for me.
Well, this was new, like I said, it's new to me. I moved here from out of state. I guess Jason is the one that told me I needed to pursue an application with ZBA.
But something must have triggered to him, so I'm guessing the animal control must have triggered to him. So, all right, just so, like, so, if you got a kennel license, I don't know the fees of it, I don't know the ins and outs of it. The most I've had is 2 dogs and maybe some puppies. So, if you got a kennel, is it expensive? Is it put you in a weird restrictive law?
Well, it's just, I have 5 personal
No, I understand
dogs.
that. In other words, I'm trying to not set a weird precedent when it might be, the solution might be, is it a $50 license, or is it like a $1,000 license and they come by our house once a year to check how many dogs are there?
Well,
Trying to make it as simple as possible. I mean, she has 3 acres, so, I mean, she could have a farm in Kingston. We went from 2,800 square feet to 100,000 square feet. What am I missing here, other than we have a law?
So if I could, the general bylaw for the town of Kingston has within it kennel licenses. Those kennel licenses are issued through the clerk's office more or less by the Board of Selectmen. That general bylaw permit issued through the clerk's office requires signatures from the animal control officer and requires a signature from the zoning department. Now, in the case of the animal control officer, she's determined that even if they're personal dogs and they exceed that number, they become a kennel.
Yeah, well, she has
wants
to,
issue a
because part of
kennel
the law,
license
yeah.
on it. So it comes to us, those come to us, even if it's in this case, 5 personal dogs.
Yeah.
In our zoning bylaw, there's not a distinction for me to say it's not a kennel when they're personal dogs. I
get it.
disagree, but I think it's not a kennel. I don't think she has a kennel. It's her
No,
dog.
I understand
But I
that.
can't make that conclusion because it says right in our bylaw, kennels, and it's already determined by the town through another agency, is a kennel license is required. It can only be issued through the zoning board of appeals.
I'd be curious
So-
why this was put on,
She could
on
be,
here.
she could be asking for 25, like Dick Partley from Dogs Unleashed, I think it is. They have a tremendous, it's the same process.
Right,
There's
that's-
not a distinction, and that's the unfortunate thing.
That's why I'm surprised this is something where they say, yeah, for $25, here's your kennel license. All right, bye. See you later.
Yeah, so it's a
It
great
made,
little
it
thing.
made life easier, but I get it from her side. If she has 5 personal dogs and they're like, well, it's $1,000, we check once a year, make sure you have all this insurance, da 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 da, then yeah, it doesn't make sense.
The kennel licenses issued from the clerk's office is tiered, so that the more dogs that you have, the more, there's a slightly larger fee that's involved. I don't know the exact
But she has to
numbers.
pay a fee anyways just to license the dog every year anyways, correct?
Right, yes.
So there's already a fee attached to it.
Yeah, so we've given her lots of hoops to jump through for 5 of her own dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And I've never lived in a state, I've lived in 3, and I've never lived in a state where my dog had to have a license. I've just always, taken him to the vet, they had their shots, they had their, what's their little tag?
Oh,
Rabies,
oh, yeah.
which is now a 1 or 3 year vaccination, and, that's all they had to have.
Welcome to Massachusetts.
yeah.
Yeah.
As it gets more
Massachusetts
more
has a
population,
whole
more
other reason, name but now, but yeah.
It's dog eat dog out there.
But
Somebody had to say it.
I have nothing against it. I just don't know what kind of, I don't even know how we vote for this. We vote to,
Please make a motion to vote to give me a kennel license.
oh, so that's what I'm getting at. So
Yeah.
she's asking for the kennel. That's what that's what I'm trying to figure out.
So she can keep her 5 dogs.
No, I get that, but I didn't know we were approving a kennel license. I thought we were just saying she doesn't need a kennel license. It's their personal dogs. That's what I was trying to get at. I'm like, this is kind of weird that she has to jump through a random hoop.
It's actually a special permit. So you're approving a special permit for a kennel to be located at the address. And what I'd say is, would be prudent, is that you'd include in the motion.
In the findings.
That in the motion and in the decision, the parameters of her kennel request. So she's in front of you today for 5 dogs. Let's just say she wants to go to 10 dogs.
But she can do whatever she wants now, yeah. She was,
Let's just say she wants to turn it into a business. She should return. So the approval today should be based upon what she's requesting.
oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I'm wasting your time then.
Yeah.
So it's a special permit.
I didn't realize. I thought we were saying no. She doesn't have to be considered a kennel. These are 5 personal dogs. That's what I thought we were doing.
Yeah, no. So you're looking to vote for a motion to approve the special permit as proposed, and that any further increase in intensity must return to the board.
So on the application, it says here, grant 1, 5 to 6 dogs, and that's what's checked off personally.
So you can get up to 6
So you
dogs.
can
right
get
off the
another
bat.
one.
Yeah, please don't tell my children that, yeah.
Well, you have more room than most people in town, so you have 138,000 square.
That's true.
Bob, we'll go this way.
The only question is now, if it's a kennel, do you have to have special dog houses in there? Do you have to have fencing? Is there any, because now it's technically a kennel, does the animal control have any criteria that you have to have certain fencing, certain, I don't know. I don't know the answer for that.
Yeah,
That'd be
when,
up to animal
I believe it
control,
was
guess.
Joanna with Animal Control, Joanna and Sonia came out to do the inspection. They looked at the property and just, all of my dogs have, of course, access to my house and then the backyard, and the backyard was completely fenced. So that's the only requirement that she was looking for,
Okay.
so that they're not just walking out the front door and running up and down Elm Street or
Yeah, no,
Tall
I just
Timbers.
didn't know if, when you hear the word kennel, you think
Go meet
of
the
dog houses.
Right, but
you
she
know.
did say if I wanted to turn it into a business, then it's a much, much more extensive inspection, and there would be outside areas,
Right.
kennel areas, concrete, waste
I just
disposal,
wanna
all
make sure
that
they're
type of
comfortable
thing.
with it. I
Yes.
still wanna bark up the wrong
It's actually,
tree.
it's written in the
There's
email.
another one.
It's second
Okay.
paragraph, says she meets all elements. Kevin?
No, I read that, and so it's, the dog officer,
Okay.
gave you the go-ahead.
She
I'm
did,
with it.
yes.
Doug?
I'm just interested, how did the dog officer even end up on your property? How did this,
Guess he went to the vet to get that.
Woof.
Let's see.
I mean,
I mean,
are
how-
these like big dog, like 5 Great Danes?
did
or
one of your
these-
dogs go in,
No, so I have, let's see,
It's not
two,
relevant, but-
two small, a 40-pound, a 50-pound. I have 3 German Shepherds and 2 Labs, 2
Okay.
Labrador Retrievers. The Labs are 12 years old, girls, and one's 100 pounds, she's a big girl, and the other one's 80 pounds. And then one German Shepherd puppy, and then 2 German Shepherd mixes.
So what triggered it? You getting the licenses for them?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, because of the 5.
That's his question. So how did they know that you had 5? And
So you went to go
so when you
license-
went to get the licenses for them, they said, oh, you have 5.
I guess it was vet, and 3 of the dogs already were good to go, so I took 2 of the dogs
Okay.
into the vet to, get them checked, and they said, oh, well, in Massachusetts, you have to get a license for the dog, and I'm like, uh-oh, I got 3 more dogs at home.
This is a good life lesson
So this
for me
vet
in
bill
case-
is I'm
and my
putting
kids.
somebody's kids through college at Kingston Animal Hospital, so,
Yep,
so that's what started it?
yeah.
Okay. It wasn't, okay, that's all I
No,
wanted.
you did the right thing.
Yeah. Anything else?
I've got no problems.
Marcia?
I'm good.
Perfect. I make a motion to approve the special permit to allow a kennel up to 6 dogs at
556 Elm Street.
556 Elm Street. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Marcia, aye.
Thank you. Easy enough. Sorry for wasting your time. Should
All
have
right.
pushed you up to the
So
beginning.
now I get it, I guess I would go down to the town clerk.
Yeah, so you wait, so once she makes a decision, I'll sign it. It
Okay,
gets stamped to the town clerk. You are then technically in an appeal period. In other words, if a neighbor goes, oh my God, I can't believe this. Oh, crap.
Oh,
I thought you guys were here
Oh.
for something else. I apologize. I apologize.
uh-oh.
Closest house to, because our houses are closer to the pond.
Please come up and speak. Please come up and speak. I have to listen. Please come up and speak.
the
Sorry,
microphone.
sorry. Come up and speak. I went too fast. Sorry.
I can't believe this happened.
Wait, one of the neighbors, please come up and speak for it. Yeah, you've been here the whole time. Please come
Yeah.
up and speak. I have to. Yeah, sorry.
are you 550 Elm Street?
No, we are, 544.
Please.
You have to come to the mic.
please-
Just go to the
please come up.
microphone, sir.
Just stay if you're against the 4. I have to listen to it now. I have to.
Yes,
I literally.
We live in
sorry.
544.
Yes.
What's your name?
My name is Mario Castro. I'm also a veteran, and I met Mr. Bob, which was the previous veteran. He used to live in his property. He asked me, oh, do you really love this town? I say, yes, We left Boston, to come in a nice, quiet place, so that's where we are. We bought this property from the Opachinsky. I'm sure you guys know them probably. Right, so just got concerned too, a dog kennel, so.
So this is, I guess to explain, and you've listened to how this has gone through, is they're not looking to be a kennel.
Yes, because, when I was stationed in Fort Bliss, you got the canine units, and I know how noisy they are.
Yeah, yeah.
So we were concerned about that, but since I heard pets, I don't think we have any issues with it.
Yeah.
I know they bark, good, all right?
Dog.
Security defense, that's okay. But, so we were concerned that late at night, we're gonna be getting barks all the time.
Yep.
I know you leave your dogs sometimes outside, and They bark sometimes at 1, 2 in the morning, but,
So I guess in
something-
theory, even though, I mean, they're not obviously opposing it, but the same thing, you do follow, you now do fall under that kennel
Yeah,
law
so-
rule, which is
I mean,
kinda-
we don't agree for her to, they're her personal dogs,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
so that's fine, we understand, so. Well, welcome to the neighborhood, we don't have anything, No,
So
now,
I
if it was a business, and anything, and it's gonna increase this, the size of dogs,
I would understand
then
your-
I know
your
that
fight.
we're gonna have issues, in the future, if we wanna sell the property, and we wanna move out, then probably owners, they would, they will want, the new buyers probably will have a problem, buying a place that is next to, to a lot of dogs, so. We
No.
were just concerned, and that's why we're
I
here.
understand your concern.
So, nice to meet you all.
Yes, I understand your concern. That being said, I know we move very fast, but we can find in the findings and put in the findings that these are her personal dogs. It may be put in there something where it sticks to the owner of the property. In other words, if you were to sell the property down the road and someone sees that on your list that you were a kennel prior, they don't try to pop in and say, oh, this is a perfect spot to make a kennel.
Right.
So this is basically a one-off. You know what I mean? It has a weird, I don't know, I'm just speaking, Bob, what do you feel?
Yeah.
Kevin?
Yeah.
It's not a license that you can sell.
Right.
Right, and I think animal control, Joanna, I tried to reach out to her today to see if she could be here with me tonight, but she had mentioned that earlier, is that it was for me and our harem of dogs, not that, okay, 556 Elm Street is going to be known as the dog kennel on Elm Street, that
Yeah.
it was just,
I just
yeah,
know
my
when we do
personal.
grant special permits, in theory, it does carry with the potential, the title of the property.
Okay.
So we'll just put it in the findings. Marcia, do you have anything to say on top of this also?
No, I'm good.
All right. Yes, so concerning neighbors, makes perfect sense that they would be concerned that they see the word kennel, they're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I get where that's coming from. So we'll put in the findings and maybe the decision that these are personal dogs, maybe put that in bold print. That way in the future someone, because this, I never even thought of this happening in town, to be honest with you, the first time I've ever heard of this.
So it has to be signed by you, and then it gets routed back to it, and then I can
And then you're in an appeal
get the
period.
license.
So if you have a neighbor, just kidding, they said it before, they can appeal it, which would then kick it back to us if there was something wrong. So if
Okay.
it's, you have 21 days, it's like about a
So I
month.
can't come and get it tomorrow, it's gonna be another.
No, she has to
2 or
write the
3
decision.
days.
We've gotten a little more streamlined back in the day, when we had to come back to the board again to then okay it. COVID kind of streamlined it a little bit. So once she has it done, I'll give it a quick read, sign it. Yeah, goes down to the permit, gets stamped, and then you're off to the races.
Okay,
So-
okay. All right, thank you.
Just
Thank you.
I only comment to protect the neighbors. And this doesn't affect you, it affects more down the road. It's a residential area, so if a business wanted to open a kennel on that property, they wouldn't be allowed to?
They would have to come to the.
To come to the board, okay, I just wanna make sure that they're protected,
Exactly.
that some guy just, oh, kennel, I'm gonna open a kennel.
Well, that's why I want to make it in the
All right.
finding the decisions. If she were to sell, let's
Yeah.
say in a year or 10 years from now, and it's still sitting there, and someone's like, oh, look, we can run a kennel out of
Just
here.
wanna protect the neighbors.
We want to make it that it goes away when she goes away, or moves, or, you know.
Is there anything else you want to include?
No, I mean, no, they're personal dogs. I mean,
Fenced in.
I guess we'll just say just dogs. I mean, it's kennel. I mean, she could have a farm there technically, so, yeah, just that.
Just the word kennel throws everybody off, should be like,
It threw me off when she came in front of it.
come up with a
Says-
better name for it.
All right, I mean, I don't.
Thank you.
That's my thinking, it protects the neighbors, so they don't lose it anymore, and maybe, is it okay if we keep it to 5? All right, so make it so that no more than 5 dogs.
But not one of those dogs, though.
'Cause the permit
like
allows
I said,
six.
he-
That was checked off 5 to 6.
Yeah, but we can put a condition in there, So
Well,
maybe-
I would just keep it the way it is on the zone. If it's 6, leave it at 6. I mean, I wouldn't change the, if,
I'm just
if,
saying to put a condition in, so she only has 5 dogs.
well, the
She makes-
conditions would be to stay with the dog offices.
No, that's fine.
That's.
I don't see her getting any more.
No, I neither do I, but I don't want to start,
Especially after she went to the vet, she probably said, hell no.
So do you want 5 or 5, 6?
Just, we'll just say whatever, to the
whatever
recommendation
is
of
the law
uh,
of the dog.
It was checked off.
It was checked off on the
5 to
application.
6 is what it said in there.
Yeah,
It's just how the license is running.
yeah, how it's
In
written.
Kingston, you go to 7, it's more money.
Oh my god, I can only imagine having 7 dogs. Anybody else, anything else? You had a long night just to get to that. I wish I had gone first, I didn't realize you guys were with that.
It's a little rough.
Yeah.
We got to get the feeling of what happened, you know?
Yeah.
Living here, so with such a short period of time.
Yes.
Well, one of you can
I'd say it would be
volunteer,
a good
one of you can volunteer for this board now.
Yeah, we're looking for a member, there you go. Anybody wants to hop on, you're welcome to hop on.
Make a motion to close the hearing?
Do we have any minutes? Are we good?
Do we need to?
Nope.
Motion for the kennel? Do we need? to?
No, you did.
We did.
We took the vote by accident before hearing them. I went so fast.
Okay, no, good, all right.
And I was like, there's an appeal period, and they're like, that's us. Oh, man, I feel bad.
Let's make a motion to end this meeting.
Most adjourned, can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Marsh,